You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning from Prior Lake, Minnesota.
It's a good day over there. It's getting cold out there, huh?
It feels good. I mean, it's still 80. Actually, it's 70s, I think. 70s and 80s. You know, I know this stuff because I get up at 5:30 and go to the club every morning. You know.
Arnold,
you know that, Andy?
I'm investigating this. I don't believe it.
Do I look like I'm in shape?
Yes.
I
use you as my pillar of health, and I gauge everything off your look.
I'm doing level 10 on the bike. Just saying.
Whoa, are you being serious right now?
I am.
Wow.
Ever since I got back from Brazil, I actually went in the hot tub last night. So, yeah,
that's crazy. Good for you, man.
Yeah. It's only been 30 years, so I thought I'd try it.
It's a comeback tour, right?
Yeah.
It's like the old bands come back, you know. Hey, I'll see you, Chris. He'll be all skinny and I eat sticks and berries for breakfast.
Well, skinny would probably not be the best word to describe that. Yeah. No, I don't think that's gonna happen.
You know how old you get when you get skinny when you're older? So it's funny. Like when you're younger, you look young. As you get older, the chubbiness stretches the skin out and makes it look just a little younger. And then when you lose all that weight, you're screwed.
Got some good. Yeah, that's true. So what do you think about our little market?
It's very interesting to say the least.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know. I think we're in that we're trying to get used to it. It's like, what is it going to be? And, you know, we don't quite believe it, but maybe we are starting to believe it a little, that things are starting to maybe slow down a little, or I wouldn't even say slow down, but kind of becoming a little more normal, which is kind of a nice thing to have.
I agree with you. I think that you also have to be very conscious of your price. I think you have to be, price, condition, location, right? And those are some of the factors that go into it. I've had some real estate agents that have called me recently and said, "Hey, how did you get that sold? Mine's still for sale. And what did you guys do that was so crazy different?" And I think what you're going to start seeing is there is a difference right now with marketing the value of that home, marketing the livability, the lifestyle. Like we've always talked about this, Chris. I know you have for sure with your Lakeshore, and talking about, really selling that to the right person, and then you'll get better offers with better terms and more money. And I'm telling you, I think right now more than ever, you're starting to see real estate as the market changes. People that appreciate a good real estate agent that can pull in a bigger audience, and an audience that actually cares about the attributes you have. It benefits that seller tremendously. The what you pay to list is the last thing I'd talk about with somebody. I talk about, what are you going to put in my pocket net? And I went around and around with this. I actually had a customer of mine, potential customer, over on the east side of town. And she's like, "I'm interviewing 5 agents." And I said, "Why?" And I go, "That's a lot of your time." And she said, "Well, I just want to make sure that they're going to give me a low commission and give me lots of marketing." And I said, "Cool. So then whatever they tell you on price doesn't matter." "Well, that matters." I said, "Okay, so you're saying you actually want to find an experienced agent that knows the market and will give you a fair price and will give you a lot of marketing. What if I could show you a way to put $15,000 to $20,000 more in your pocket? Would you be open to listening to that? And if not, hey, nice to meet you. Good to see you. Goodbye." Yeah. Call me though when they wipe out for you, and and then call me for the second round, because I'll gladly take a second round listing. But I don't say that I know it comes across as arrogant when I say that. It's more confidence, because I've done this so many times and you've done the same thing, Chris. We've been there before. We've done this before. We've seen markets change. I mean, just like I was doing a market last night for another guy, and there was, at the end of last year, weird, in March, April, because there's no comps in this area. We had to go way back. Well, sure, they listed at $375 and got offered $425. Mm-hmm. Weird. And it closed, and everybody else has been selling at $375 since. He's like, well, why can't I get 425? And I go, because that was that idiot market we were in that we might go back to. So all these people sitting on the sideline saying, I'm going to wait. You wait for low interest rates, you're going to be paying higher prices. Facts, right? I mean, you listen to all the experts right now that's all screaming from the rooftops. And I think everybody that's older keeps thinking back to 2008, 2009, thinking, oh, man, but eventually the market's going to crash. You got to look at the statistics, right?
I'll tell you what, Andy, I don't think people remember how many buyers were out there and how many buyers are just pausing and taking a break and waiting for those interest rates to come down and feeling that. So yeah, this is the time. I mean, from a buyer standpoint, is to get out there and do it. There's some sellers that are getting, I wouldn't call it desperate, but like feel like, oh my gosh, I gotta get rid of this before the whole market goes way down. And we're just not in that position. I mean, we're just not in an inventory type position. We got an election year next year. The odds of them continuing to raise their interest rates in election year are pretty much nil. That doesn't say good things about who you want, as if you want that president to continue. So never not seen a year where it's hasn't been fruitful that year. They don't want to upset the apple cart.
Yeah. So. Well, and I think that even the consumer that's advocating for a political party, one or the other, you'll see them like out doing things that create, oh, I'm hiring new people. I'm doing this in this district. Look at how great our district is, or how our area is great. Reelect so-and-so. And so I tell you, there's a lot of fake news, kind of, if you will want to call it that. I know that's not my term, but I stole that. But, you'll get a lot of that political hype. And I don't like any of the presidents, just for the record. I think they all have some kind of a crooked agenda. I mean, I definitely lead at lower taxes, more freedom, whatever you want to read into that. And so I can vote on any side of the fence. I look at it like, hey, enough is enough. I can't believe all the families I'm seeing right now that are like, guys, enough is enough. I mean, they're going broke just trying to live, and they just got a raise, and they're making $85,000, and last year they made $65,000, and they're still broke. And it's like, it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
I don't mind those boring years once in a while. You know what I mean?
Interest rates now pushing 7.5%. What are we saying here? This cannot be sustainable with home values staying stagnant. Prediction: our interest rates drop next year, but will just result in highly competitive situations. Boy, Andy, I think you just said this, and escalating home prices. Without a boom in inventory, which is not going to happen, what can be done? Every average American is being priced out of home ownership.
Well, every homeowner that uses financing is being priced out of home ownership, right? And so that's the key. And see, I tell you, that's one of those scams that we've been taught since we were little. You got to go into debt. You got to buy, And granted, I get it. You don't want to wait till you're 50 years old to buy your first house and pay cash for it, because you probably would never catch up with the appreciation and everything else. But reality is that people buy the payment. They don't buy the house. So right now they're not getting enough house for the payment that they can afford. And so what's happening is you're just seeing people cool down because they're not excited. Kind of like I am when I'm looking at brand new GMC trucks running from $85,000 to $96,000 for a new GMC truck. And I need one. I got a lot of miles on mine. I'm ready to, I'm at, we're at a point where we have, hang on a sec. Sorry. My computer shuts off. I don't know why it just does. It gets bored with me and it shuts off. Kind of like, but no, you look at those kind of things and I'm like, I'm not paying that. That's crazy. And then you look at the incentives right now. Like they had last month's incentives for a GMC truck, loyalty cash, $1,250 loyalty cash for previous owners of GMC trucks. I'm like, where in the hell is your head, you guys? You guys are so going to dip down in this bowl of despair. You got to get going. You got to start offering incentives to stimulate people to buy. And I don't know. We'll see.
And Andy, do you almost have 20,000 miles on your car now? So that's why it's time to trade it.
46. It's
46.
Hey,
that's a lot of miles. I have 200,000 on my Tesla.
My grandfather used to say, "Hey, the ashtray's full and it needs a tank of gas, so let's get a new one." We stimulate that economy. No, I've always had. That's one guilty pleasure I've had in all the years I've been doing this. Is I like to have a nice vehicle. I always have, probably always will. I think though, what I'm honestly going to do this time is that I'm not going to buy the fancy pants, top of the line. I'm going to go in there and say, all right, what can I get for 65,000 like I did the last time? And let's go. And they're going to be like, you can get a nice.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I think you're buying the $95,000 one.
For 65, yes.
65, 95.
I need $30,000 rebate dollars, and then I'll be. So I'm holding out for that. Kind of like these people are holding out for better prices on houses.
Well, that's the other thing. These interest rates and stuff. There are buyers that are looking right now are also just kind of sitting there saying, you know what? Sure, it's going to cost me more for the next, 8-9 months, and hopefully I'm going to be able to qualify and refinance out of this rate as they come down, and but yet try to take advantage of where the market's at right now. So
well, and I think I agree with you, Chris, and I think there's also one other factor that's happening right now. We were looking at last week. I don't know if you remember we were talking about like new construction, how it's exceeding in some markets the existing home sales. And again, just to reiterate what is happening in that arena, why is that happening, right? What builders are doing is they're in a position where they can contribute up to 3%. Lenders are contributing 1%. So 4% of that purchase price is being dedicated to buying down your interest rate. And they're putting the house up for sale and they're saying, hey, buy this house at 5.1, 5.9, 5.5% interest. And, I tell you, people that are not looking at price, they're only looking at payment. That is super lucrative and attractive to them. And so they're pouncing on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you are paying more for the house. You're going to be what they call stuck for a while because you're buying that new house, which is fine. But when you buy that low of a rate, in theory, you're paying 4% more for that house. So that house has to appreciate 4% for you to get back to square, right? Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you start growing equity and whatever else. So by the time you'd have to sell it, you'd have to have at least 10% by the time you have a real estate agent, and that'd be to break even. So think about that. So you're buying that house for $700. You got to get up to $770, $780 just to break even on it to sell it. And anyway, and then you're hoping the market's there. Because what if the market doesn't go up? The market sells at $700. Now you got to sit there and wait until the market comes back to 700. So that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's also a mentality of, that your house is an investment rather than, hey, this is where I live. This is where I enjoy. This is what I want to do. And I think that I think that has came through a little more during the whole COVID thing, that people, you could be stuck in your house for a while.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever happen. I really don't. But I think some people do believe that.
I'm not you're saying there's some emotion and pleasure that goes into buying a house?
There should be. I think so. Yeah.
I think most people buy an emotion, right? It's mm-hmm. As you're out there, you're working hard every day and you have in your brain your level of what you've achieved for success, and you want your house to represent that success. Not everybody, but some people. And well, otherwise, why would you buy a 15,000 square foot house on the peninsula on Lake Minnetonka?
Because you're
not doing that because you need it. You're doing that because your ego's gigantic. You need a semi truck to drive your ego out to the showing.
And because you can.
Yeah.
So
thank God I'm still just a pickup truck. I can keep my ego in the back.
Looks like Nick's got some social media stuff for us, Andy. One more time, Nick. Do that again.
Why don't you read it?
I don't know if you saw that little guy there on his. Oh my gosh, it's so sad that some of these people in politics have gotten. I mean, they can't even function, and they just keep throwing them out there. But anyways, there is. I mean, people do question you if every time it is the perfect time to either buy and or sell. But I'll tell you what, I don't know. I'm not so sure it wasn't the best time to buy and sell for the last 3 years. I mean, really, or last 2.5 years for sure. That it was good, really, for both people.
I'm going to throw this out there because this is something that sometimes we forget. We get so busy with kids and life and jobs and whatever else, and you kind of forget that things are kind of slowly going up around you. And I come back to my grandfather telling me he was up in Big Lake There was 3 cabins on the whole. I'm talking almost 80 years ago, right? And he was in his young 20s, and now he's passed away now. But at the time, it was him and a farmer across the lake. And he said he approached me and said, "Hey, I own the whole other side of the lake. I have like 400 acres of land." And he goes, "I'm losing my farm to the bank." And he says to my grandfather, he says, "Have you ever been interested in being a farmer?" He goes, "I can sell my whole farm for literally $2,800, and you can have the lakeshore. All I want is the house, and you can have all the farmland. You can have all the lakeshore." And I'm going, $2,800. But you're talking, this was back in the 30s. Wow. Yeah. And so now you look at that and you say, okay, so today's money, let's say that that's worth $10 million. So to go from 2,800 to 10 million in value, things change over time. And sometimes it goes faster, sometimes it goes slower. I think a couple of years ago, we even saw it go negative for a little while, deflationary times, but it's okay. Times change, adjust for the change and move on and buy what you can afford. You okay with your phone over there?
I gotta turn my phone off.
Hey, I was going to tell you, they have this button. It's a silence button on the side.
Oh my gosh.
So when you're at church and it's ringing and you don't address it, like.
I'm going to give you a little phone technology update that my phone kept shutting off. I would just lose my cellular signal. And it was so frustrating. I mean, it was going on for 2 days. And so I'd restart it. Then it kind of would come back. And I guess they say those SIM cards kind of burn out or something after a little while. And so I got a new SIM card. Now everything works fine. But you just go in there and they'll replace the SIM card quick and you're on your way. So
nice.
You have that problem. Yeah, there's my technology.
That's a good tip. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep, you're welcome.
I'm calling this place the Goth Mermaid Stripper Barbie Dream House. We're in Hudson, Wisconsin. $1.1 million, 7-bed, 4-bath, and it's 5,600 square feet. I wore my pink today so I could match the house as well as the pink G-Wagon in the driveway. Jumping right in. If you think you know what the theme of this house is, you don't. Here's the living room, a bit more pink. Is this a Playboy bunny? Here's your dining room. We're really mixing pink with black gothic furniture. It's quite the combo. Here's the bathroom. If you want to know what that sign says, let's all read it here together. Please don't do coke in the bathroom. So here's the kitchen, pretty normal. Here's the upstairs. What is that? Be your own daddy and make your own sugar. I know that's right. And then we have another kitchen, just the most normal kitchen I've ever seen in the Barbie Core Goth Stripper Barbie Mermaid Dream House. Huh? Like, what? Is this the same house? Taxidermy, of course. If you were wondering why I said stripper earlier, this is why. The bedroom furniture, Like, does Dracula live here? What is happening? Sometimes these houses are so crazy, but when they fully commit, I respect it. We haven't fully committed here, have we? If you're wondering what that is, it's a mermaid skeleton above the bathtub. So, what is happening? And here's the outside area. That's it. Love you, bye.
Oh, Jesus.
I get a kick out of that fella. I like him.
I did too, but
making a lot of money in your industry.
Is he?
Yeah, getting leads, helping real estate, designing, just from stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, he's entertaining as heck. I tell you,
he's a realtor. Wow.
No, I don't think he's a realtor. He just does content on it and gets people's leads and helps design and things like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he did have some good points there about confusing a potential buyer. I mean, you go from the Barbie house to the, nice house. I mean, I wonder if that was kind of split up into like a duplex or something, or two different units and playing off of that. But $1.1 million in Hudson, I don't know. I'd have to see the land, how close we are to the river, to see if that value was there. But it was good.
Yeah, if you're looking for an unstable seller, you got it. You
gotta give them credit though, doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
And
you can do what you want to do as long as you don't care about the return on investment.
Yeah.
Period. So I always say, and God bless all of you that have inherited a lot of money. that is a trust fund baby or I inherited a lot of money or got the big divorce settlement kind of money situation, and then they don't care. That's what I know. I would guess, but that's just my
Andy,
guess.
I heard one time that you can't bring it with you, so you might as well enjoy it while you're here. That's what I've heard.
Chris,
They don't.
kindness matters, buddy.
It does. I agree.
Hey, I just thought of something. What like you said, that price seems pretty crazy. It depends on Hudson and how wild the house is. What if they're using it as like a marketing technique for their Airbnb? I assume they do, or some party event center. They charge you really high or put the price up and get people to do videos like that.
Could be.
Absolutely. I mean, that the whole Airbnb has changed a lot of thinking when it comes to that sort of stuff. I mean, it's more like, you know what, that would kind of be cool. Let's just do it for the weekend. Oh my gosh, this would be great. Yeah. Well, now, 52 people are doing it every weekend and you're making a crap ton of money. So
didn't you and I 2 years ago or whatever it was, we had that dome home on here and they said it was booked out for like 2 years, people wanting to rent it for the weekend. And
yeah, totally. I mean, all those things. Yeah. You never thought you would purchase them. There was one in Rosemount, a dome home, and it was in the middle of acreage and it had tons of work that needed to be done. And my person wanted to go see it at the beginning. And God, there was it was like a revolving door, people coming in there to see this place, but they were all kind of looking from it as a Airbnb type thing. Because it's unusual, it's different.
Nick Brett doesn't remember, but Chris, do you remember those Fana Suites hotels that they had
in Burnsville?
Every room was straight up. This is the astronaut room. This is the chic room. This is the Roman emperor room. This is the.
I stayed in the igloo room with Nick's mother.
Hey, I was saying more so that the owner of that place could have listed for a stupid price just to get attention. If someone wants to buy it, that's great. But to have people do content on it like that, and then, hey, I'm actually Airbnb-ing this thing out. Do people ever do that where they just throw their house on there to get attention to make content?
It's a lot of work.
And I think that's a little misrepresentative if you just throw it out there at a super high price. But I'll tell you what, I was just seeing on the MLS, I'm like, there's 2 houses that I saw. I'm like, there's just no way it's even worth that. It's not even worth it. And it's kind of like, as an agent, even I'm looking at it, I'm kind of like, God, this is $3.5 million. I mean, God, maybe it is. And then you start trying to justify it because that's what they throw out there. And some people will do that and all of a sudden say it's 3.5. And now we're going to reduce it to $2.5 million. Yeah. And it's just going to be a steal when it's probably worth $2.5 million.
Maybe it's getting attention, right? That's it. So at the end of the day, like Nick is saying, are they seeking attention or are they really trying to sell it for that price? But I got to be honest with you, most people that were trying to get the best price, probably, I don't know. I'm kind of confused. So I get it. There are people out there that express themselves differently. I get that and I respect that. So there might be the right buyer that comes along and goes, oh my God, finally somebody designed a house the way I'd want it. But when you're that specific, like you're into goth, you're into Barbie, you're into mermaids, you're into whatever. I mean, that's quite a plethora of variety of interests, but I don't know. I don't disagree, Nick. That might be the concept behind it. Maybe if it's a listing agent that's listing it and owning it at the same time, maybe. We look at us. We just talked
Very
about
possible. Yep.
I'm about to show you a real estate hack. First, you want to go to your county tax assessor's website. Now you want to scroll down to where it says delinquent tax and click tax sale listing. Scroll down, and these are a list of properties that you can individually go through and look them up, and you can purchase their properties for these amounts that's listed. Those are property taxes that people have not paid yet. You have to register to see the actual homes. You want to find something that says documents and forms. Go through all these forms and figure out the process. In Georgia, the owner has a year to buy the property back from you with 20% interest, or in a year, you actually own that property. How cool is that? You just bought a property for pennies on a dollar. Come on.
Can happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they can forfeit to delinquent taxes. Most people don't, but especially if it's a small amount, you're gonna go through a lot of work to pay off. Now you have the cash. They don't just let you do. It's cash. It's not credit card. It's not whatever. So you go in there and pay off that tax lien, and then you start the foreclosing process. Is what you basically was saying. Yeah. So
and keep in mind that if there's taxes are delinquent, I mean, if there's a mortgage on it, the mortgage company is going to take care of that and grab it back. So these are people that are basically, they don't have a mortgage on the property, or maybe they're having a contract for deed and the seller's kind of, the contract for deed holder is just kind of forgot about it and doesn't watch things. So it's not like there's going to be a ton of these properties available. They're typically, a piece of land that maybe someone inherited that they never really knew what to do with it. And it's up in, Bowabic, and it's, a separate lot that's got a tax lien on it, and you can do it. And,
but so now I've actually done this in state by state. It's different. But you follow the IRS, for an example. The IRS will do the same thing. They'll have tax liens against properties. And the difference is this: if you're buying the note, that's one thing. And not every state lets you do that, but some will. Some counties will go all the way through the process of actually taking the property back, and then they put it up for auction because they want to actually make money on it at that point for the arrears that they're in. But what's interesting about all of that is that, like, when you do the IRS liens and it says, start the bidding at $200,000 and it's worth $1 million. Well, there's a lot of times when you look at the fine print, there's also encumbrances that are on the side that says liens, judgments, because it wasn't a true foreclosure. They didn't go through the foreclosure, which is a legal act, like a sheriff act, where it's like being arrested, right? So it's a legal process that eliminates everybody. They have to go through an advertising process. They have to put it up for sale for so long. They have to give them time to redeem it. There's all these things that have to line up perfectly for also you to get it at that amount. And it is, you'd probably have to do 50 of them to get one.
You got it.
You got a lot of money.
It's not like
a little bit of money. The return's not there unless all the stars align. I'm not saying don't do it. She's a clever girl, thinking about it, real estate agent wise, trying to think of ways to stimulate other buyers in her audience to say, hey, she's got her, an angle that nobody else has, which I appreciate about that. But I don't know. It's not if it was a clear path to making money every time, you wouldn't see just real estate agents doing it. You'd see big corporations doing it.
Yeah.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Prasky, Remax Advantage Plus, Andy@Prasky.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing. 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Prasky, Remax Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show. It's actually 24 years now.
Let's make a new one, Andy.
I like to get my money out of them.
I saw this. I was going through lakes in Minnesota, and I'd never heard of this one. Andy, it's kind of near your area. What do you think of Long Lake, the real estate near it? Your overall
thoughts? A little bit so I can see what we're looking at.
Long Lake in New Brighton.
I can't tell where you're at. You're not showing me your crossroads. Oh, there you go. Actually, yes, I apologize. I have actually sold a house on that lake before. It's right over by Irondale kind of high school, if I'm not mistaken. Right off up and around on the north side of the lake up there. It's really nice little lake, kind of a sleeper, if you will. It's look at that. Totino's right over to the left. Yep. Yeah,
when you get a location like that too, I mean, when you quick access in and out, I don't think it's going to be your ultimate, water skiing lake, but at least having the backdrop of water, I'll tell you, that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. Just having that water, that's what I like. I mean, I'm on Pryor Lake, which is obviously it's a recreational lake and bigger, but I just love seeing the water, hearing the water.
Well, and if you look back at those maps, you can get on to 35W or 35, what is it? EW right there. Yeah, pretty fast.
Yeah.
You're downtown in like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like boop, 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 boop. You're right there. I mean, and it's all fast freeway. You got Roseville over there. I actually, so what was the, is it underrated? Yes.
I mean, that area might not be the growing the most either from a real estate.
I think it's a sleeper, Chris, because it's already fully developed. So now you're looking at anything that's new as redevelopment, or like a lot of the families. I have one of them on my team that just moved to New Brighton right next door to that, so that their son could go to Totino Grace. So they wanted to be closer to the high school up there. So you're seeing Fridley isn't as hot as it used to be, for that crowd, even though it's in the town of Fridley, the Totino Grace. A lot of families are, planting into that New Brighton, Mounds View, area there, Long Lake, as they say.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know that area as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful over there. It's a kind of a very nice, well-kept area. Everybody seems to have nice stuff there. Trees are mature. The streets are pretty. I mean, it's a very nice part of town. It's definitely a sleeper for sure.
Good deal. I mean, it's kind of nice to have lake living so close in town too,
Well, and it kind of oozes over too, right? So you got the people across the street that can still see the lake. So they love their area too. They're out walking with their strollers or their dogs, and they've got their yard really nice as well. And there's a lot of very nice, well-kept properties over there. And there are some very expensive homes, on that lake as well. Custom built, so pretty cool.
For sure.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Whoa.
Yeah. So this is that Mansion Global. You had this before, and I was saying this was kind of that maybe they're trying to get people to advertise on it, and they're just kind of taking stuff. But all of a sudden, this so happens a listing of mine is on here now. I was looking over this. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? They never called me. They never interviewed me. They never did anything. So I think what this Mansion Global is that they're trying to advertise other places within the listing. And once we get to it, I can kind of show you it. But I don't know if you want to go down these houses or what. But
yeah, this first one already doesn't seem like it's the luxury.
Right.
Listing.
They're just basically grabbing listings, and then because it's Mansion Global, and we're talking about a 1,500 square foot townhome in Moorhead, So I don't think that's quite mansion criteria, but maybe in Moorhead, you never know. It could be, Andy. So, but you'll see that where they say the home is close to schools and educational centers, and then they kind of go really deep into it. And I think that's what they're trying to do. So,
well, maybe down here it says Prior Lake, Minnesota, home with 6,662 square feet. There you go.
That's my listing.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's the listing nice. in territory. It's a super nice house. And look at that, Chris P. Rooney. So what they did is they took some of our wording, but if you look at the next paragraph,
did we just give you a new nickname, Crispy?
Yeah, Crispy Cream.
All right, Crispy, tell us about your new listing, Crispy.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they're on like that last paragraph. I mean, that's not that I put in there, but I mean, a Subway and Walmart and cream of the cakes, So
I'm pretty sure this is AI doing the whole internet, and they're just pumping these out all around the country. I bet.
Yep. Yeah, they're just grabbing stuff.
So what's funny, Nick, actually, that it brings up an interesting argument, right? So it's really kind of close, but it doesn't represent what that local luxury listing agent would actually put in their own ads or in their own context. So what's happening is they're not by design, they're not cutting and pasting your stuff because they can't. So they're reduplicating it. Now that information gets out there. Now somebody Googles your address, and guess what happens, Chris? They pull up information that's kind of close but not really accurate, and it'll lose its luster. AI will eventually, if there's enough AI pulled from enough AI sources, all of a sudden you're going to have their version of what that is, and it's not going to be accurate anymore. So eventually AI will kind of become not sexy, or you're going to have to say that this is a verified source versus a AI source. And so eventually the feds will step in and say, hey, this is an AI written article or AI written website or whatever. Not that it's wrong. It's just that you just need to know so that when you're going into it, to put different goggles on, right?
I've gotten so many calls from people saying, hey, the information's wrong on this listing that, you said it's, it's 5 baths, but this is only saying it's 4 baths or 3.5 baths.
Right.
And it's like, well, I can't determine what their website does. We've got all our information incorrectly, and you hope it does, but there's some things. So let's just talk about bathrooms, for instance. Some people might call whatever room has something in it is a bathroom. So a half bath is still a bathroom. And so there's 5 of them, and you might have 2 half baths, a 3/4, and 2 full baths. Well, if that's on another website, they might say, oh, that's just a half, and there's another half, so that's 1. And then there's a 3/4 and a 3/4. Oh, that's 2.5. And then plus a full, that's 3.5. So now it says 3.5 when there's really 5.
So this was a problem I had with one of our local real estate firms that's been around a long time. They'd sweep the MLS, and their system was changing the line of the photos as well, so that all of a sudden you'd see like a bathroom picture instead of the front house picture on their website versus another one. The other thing they were doing is for a while they had problems with transposing bedrooms and bathrooms. And so all of a sudden it would show like a 5 bathroom house with 2 bedrooms. And it's like, nope, it's the other way around. And so what I would say is this, just like on the disclaimer on the back of their website says, buyer beware, make sure to verify. There is no better source than the real estate agent themselves. And if you Google the address and you go to the agent's website themselves, you're going to usually get the most accurate information. Or the MLS. And if you can find a way to get to that MLS directly, either through a real estate agent sending you information, that's why I do that. I mean, I go from shopping where it's kind of accurate and it'll say, like, I'll give you an example. I've got customers that'll say, there's 10 houses on Zillow that I want to see. Okay, because they all say active. We go in there, we spend the time to find all the addresses, we do all the whatever, and 2 of them are actually available for showings because the other ones are actually pending inspection, pending sale of house, pending financing, whatever it is, but they don't show it that way. So remember, folks, that when you're online looking at real estate, a lot of times it's designed to get you intrigued enough to click on it. My real estate agent says it's not available, so I'm going to click on it. Weird. Also, you get 15 people calling you asking if you want to go see that house because you're being sold your information, right? So it's like anything that's free isn't free. They're getting something out of you to give you that information.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Do you think, obviously, they're trying to get agents to market on here, maybe, or they're just taking information from people that click on it and selling those leads to real estate agents, especially the luxury ones?
It's all about getting leads and selling leads. I mean, I'll tell you what, 2-3 times a week at least, I get people calling me up and saying, I just got a text yesterday. And they said, Chris, do you only sell homes in Savage? Tom, from a 973 number. And it's just like, those are people saying, and I go, no, I sell houses all over. Well, where is it? Well, I just happen to have leads there. It's just a way in which to be able to get it, but they're always trying to sell us realtors these leads and different systems.
I will apologize right in advance. If I don't have you programmed in my phone and my contacts, I will never answer your call. I'll listen to your voicemail and I'll respond to you. If you don't leave me a voicemail, I won't respond to you because there is so much spamming going on in our industry. Think about real estate agents. Everything from photography to websites to social media to ad clicks to image building to lead generation to recruiting team members to different brokerages to
house cleaners.
Oh my God! Yeah. And then everybody's like, "Oh, I can be a good landscaper for you to." No problem. I mean, but here's what I'd say to you. So that website, and I'm not picking on you, but I'm going to pick on you for a second, Nick. That's 100% an ad-driven, revenue-driven website. They're putting out the things that people research. They want Globe They want mansions. They want whatever. So those are words that people search. Their site pops up. Guess what they get? They get eyeballs on their website. What does eyeballs sell? Ad revenue. Now they can say, hey, we have 30,000 viewers a day on our website. Would you like to put your ABC furnace company on there for $4,000 a day to get in front of all these people looking for luxury homes? And that's how they sell. They don't even care about the content. They're just getting the eyeballs on there, and they're getting the people to click it, and that's what they sell. I think it's all fake. I think it's 100%. There's a ton of that ad. Well, the late night TV shows talking about how do I become a millionaire without doing anything? There you go.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I found this. What I do a lot of the times during the week is type in Minnesota real estate on Google and go to the news, E&E news stories, and this is one of the top things. So obviously they're doing their job, or there's a gap in the market that should be filled in Minnesota if this is popping up like that.
There's a lot of really smart people out there that figure that stuff out. Now, will you ever go back? I don't know. Will you ever, mention it? I don't know. It's like, that's always the, there's been other sites in the world that have been like that before too. People go to your site. If there's not value, they leave. So it's like,
they should have done the Moorhead one first, but let's go through the rest of them. There's some decent stuff in there.
Okay.
Like, just talk about the areas and.
Yeah, I think Andy said something too about that whole photo arrangement. I want to bring that up after, but go ahead and we'll do this. Okay, so really 3.2 for that? Huh. Let me see. New makes it one of a kind residence, 5,700 square feet for 3.2. 3.44. Is it? What is that? Is this the listing right here for 3.25 million? I mean, I don't even have to look at it. It just doesn't seem like it's even close. So is it on the Mississippi River? Oh, hold on. 6 exceptional lots. No details been overlooked by Streeter. Okay, so it's a new construction home on a Mississippi River Vista plat. So see, that's the other thing. This is not like we have to dissect everything to try to even figure it out. So
you can see on the bottom there's a lot of words and
so that's the other one. These are renderings of homes that they could build on the Mississippi River. So and I'm sure they're like to be built so that you can get quite a bit of money on them. So in Rochester, that's 950. What do you think, Andy? I mean, basically a 2,000 foundation walkout rambler in Rochester.
Seems like a lot of money, but it's a very nice looking house.
Yeah, I mean Rochester is not a cheap place in which to be able to go. That's for sure.
I can build that house up in the cities for probably 700 with a lot. So.
Hey, look at this next one. How much they're messing up? 66 square feet.
Yeah, you can't. That's not even a legal bedroom. 66 square feet. But what a cute house that is, though. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't say I would pay 3.25 million for it, but
Wow.
It's kind of a play off the old architecture and staying with the true theme of that area, because you do see quite a few. I was driving around in Richfield the other day, and you see kind of these, these houses that you would build in a smaller neighborhood and just try to, throw them up, and it just totally throws off the whole feel of a cool older area in like Edina or Richfield, Hopkins area. And then all of a sudden you get this kind of this little square thing that they just didn't kind of play with the era or the architecture and tried to make it fit in. And they just plopped like 3 of them in there. They might have bought one house that was on 3 lots, and they just plop, plop, plop. And it just kind of looks a little different. But Andy, I did want to make a mention. There's a mansion right there.
Here we go. So look at that on the top. Advertise with us.
Yeah.
So you can buy advertisement.
Yeah. So you got it's basically trying to get you there, but Andy's so right on. That's a total AI thing. And they totally screwed it up. I mean, with 66 square feet. I mean, that would be, people are seeing this. All of a sudden your seller sees it. And then all of a sudden it becomes like, what are you doing? Why are you putting 6? Well, it's not me. I didn't do it, but you have to, these are the things that kind of come out and come in. But when you talked about photo arrangement, That is such an important part of marketing. And if someone manipulates your photos, I mean, I've seen stuff like that. I've seen on the MLS where it kind of throws you all over the house, you know, and you're like, oh my God, I can't feel how it goes. You need to take your pictures and basically walk them through the house.
Right.
And some people, all of a sudden, they'll just throw all these different photos in, and you have no idea where you are. You get confused, and you just move on. So
people eliminate you online. They don't shop to be intrigued and like, wow. Like the website we were just on is for fun, killing time when you're at the dentist office, you know, waiting for your appointment, kind of whatever. But I'll tell you what, when you look at when you're you know, actually out there looking at you want details, you want what I don't know. I don't know. I think photos are way more important than we realize, because people, as they're flipping through, maybe it meets a 3-bedroom, 2-bath criteria you're looking for, but if the first photo is a picture of the laundry room or the garage, and you're not into those rooms, you're gonna be like, well, that's weird. And you start questioning everything from the listing agent to why would they do this to what's going on here. And
the front of the house must not look good, you
right,
know, because they're not showing it.
Ugly from the front. You and I have done that 1,000 times. So it's like, unfortunately, and if your house doesn't have the most curb appeal, what sometimes I'll do is I'll do like the photo within the photo, or you'll do like show the front of the house, but you'll show like the 4-season porch. They go, ooh, you know, or a lot of times I'll start with an aerial if the front is ugly, or not as I shouldn't say ugly. There's not really ugly houses, but there's
There is ugly.
Okay.
There's ugly.
I've never, So but what I would do then is have where we would then take and put the aerials in instead, you know, and you get about 5 to 1 clicks on aerials. We have way more people that click on aerials than they do on the front elevations. But I've also done the opposite, Chris, where I've taken them all off, where I have one photo and I put my favorite photo on there because we're not getting showings, because people eliminate the opportunity to see the house based on what you're putting out there. So putting a ton of stuff out there is great for some people because you're helping the buyer, not the seller. And sometimes you are helping the seller. So you got to pay attention to what's happening. I
do think though that, you know, this is reality now. These kind of websites are reality, and what we have to deal with. And as an agent, and so I'm talking to the agents, these are the things that we need to explain to our sellers ahead of time to be able to ward off those problems, because that it's going to get worse. I mean, people are going to take advantage of it. Everyone's an author, a poet, and a book writer with AI now. Everyone has the ability to do it in 3 strokes. They can be able to kind of change anything and everything that they want. And so I think it's something that we have to really kind of, I don't know, we have to really watch, you know, what other people are doing to our stuff. You know, I mean, my listing on there didn't get hit that bad, but it is kind of like, okay, so we're talking about a Subway. Okay, that's great. But there's a lot of Subways around. That's not something that I would really kind of, you know, make sure that, boy, I want to make sure I do that. But they're going after Subway and telling Subway that, hey, we're promoting you, you know, next to this mansion.
Well, to me, for you guys explain to clients, I think they'd be like, wow, that's really interesting. You guys are ahead of the curve. You know what you're talking about, because a lot of the public has no idea that that's total BS and not that good, right? So I think it's pretty important to understand these kind of things and explain to clients and future buyers and sellers.
Well, it's kind of like what Andy said at the beginning, you know, about the client who wanted to interview 5 different agents, and all they wanted was, you know, I want the lowest commission for the most amount of stuff. And now he threw in hey, it doesn't matter what you listed for then. Oh my God, I never really thought of that. And so what is your goal and how do we get you there? And I think that's our job a lot, is dissecting and knowing what's out there, and even advertising. A lot of sellers are like, oh my gosh, I saw my neighbor's house is on Mansion Global. I want you to put it on there. Now agents are going right over there to say, hey, I'm going to advertise on Mansion Global. And now they start spending money on stuff that, you know, that all of a sudden, you know, we dissected and took away, that we got a 66 square foot house, and we've got a house by a Subway, and there's a mansion in Moorhead that's $247,000. You know, no. And if we can kind of like, because it's a hard world. It's our job. It's a hard world for the sellers to figure this out, and the buyers to navigate it. So
I agree. And I think that, you know, the old cliche of the all exposure is good exposure isn't always true. Because I think that there should have to be some disclosure when they publish an article like that makes it look like there's an editor that's actually writing and composing an article about your property and reporting the news on your art. That's what they're doing, but they're letting a computer system do it based on what they find out there.
Actually, we should dive into that and see if we can find it. Because, I mean, I wonder if there is something with that, because that does make total sense. I mean, we spend a lot of money on doing what we do. I mean, like you said, with the aerials and stuff, and we're trying to create that impact right away. And then all of a sudden, they're going and taking a picture of a bathroom and a laundry room first.
Well, eventually on our MLS input sheet, now it says on the MLS feeds, you can go to these different, and they have you check 5 different feeds that it can go out to, right? The last one, like I don't do, is the one that says that you actually will allow them to put, comments on your price. And so I would say no to that one. But eventually they're going to say, do you want this to be syndicated to AI style sites? Yes or no? And eventually you'll be able to say no, and they won't syndicate to these people.
No.
If you don't want to.
We'll see. They've been bought before, Andrew.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not sitting here as the old man saying, don't do it. But I also just saw a young guy that thought all of his bills were being paid online by an app, and the app wasn't verifying the bills were being paid, and he screwed up his credit, and he went from an 800 credit score down to about a 450 like that because bills weren't being paid properly. And something happened with his account, and all of a sudden he's got 3 months of missed payments, and this app is saying they're all paid. So he's like going to the app going, hey, it says everything's paid. You still have the responsibility, young man, to verify that that's actually being paid by the bank. But people are lazy. They want the app to do everything. They want this to do everything for you. Old school thinking says verify it's been paid, show it's been paid, and give me a receipt that it's been paid. Make fun of your grandpa, make fun of us all you want. Verification is one of the most important things when it comes to actual real life. And I think there's so many things that are trying to, let's make it simple and not worry about it. And let's do that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't use some technology, but I only want to use technology that can be verified, that verifies it's doing what it says it's doing when it comes to my credibility and or my responsibilities.
It's like Deion Sanders would say, we're collecting receipts, baby. We're collecting receipts. You got to collect receipts.
When I was in Colorado, you could hear the roar when they beat TCU last weekend, and I was 30 miles away or 20 miles away from there. They were in Boulder or whatever, and I was over in Golden. And
it was at TCU. It was in Texas. You're listening to a different game. They're probably there celebrating, but that game was in Texas.
No,
yes, at TCU.
The whole town went crazy.
Oh, I'm sure. That guy's unbelievable. He motivates me. I'm like, let's go, So, okay, what do you tell people who become priced out of their area due to out-of-staters moving in? Should have bought earlier.
Here's the big
great investment.
The big discussion, a lot of obviously millennials, younger people, do you think people are owed a home where they grew up? So if they stay there, they work there, do you think they should get in first or no?
Well, go move over to socialist Europe and see how that works out. Some of those people are 4th-generation renters in the same properties because they can't even get rentals that are in the same communities that they can afford, let alone being owners. So this whole American dream thing, you better be careful.
I think these people should, probably respect where they grew up and stay in that area and then purchase, and they should be doing that. How about that? I mean, let's look at it from both ways, but no one's owed anything in this world. If you work for it and you get it and you do it, but I mean, if your market, someone's done something right, and out-of-staters are moving in and taking over. I mean, it's just the way it is. We're in a free world.
Right.
So.
Those are states where people have gotten crazy appreciation. So they have like free money, if you want to call it that, where they can come in and throw that free money at things and raise prices because they want to get what they want to get. And so the idea there is that maybe investing into the areas that are appreciating better will give you that same freedom that they have. Maybe you buy a couple properties, so.
Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about that kind of that philosophy, Andy. That's what we see a lot on like lakes. People are getting these inflated prices. I mean, the prices are crazy, and they can take that money and go buy something that's unreal. That's twice as good as what they got for 50% less, and feel like they got a great deal. And so what they're doing is like, hey, does that matter? I mean, I already got $2 million on that. This is only $1 million. I'll pay $1,050,000. What's the difference?
When I was out in that winter park in Colorado, I was looking at we went on an excursion and we drove by this one area. I told you guys about this last time we were on the air. And I now reached out to the agent that was actually selling there and says, hey, just kind of curious, what kind of investments do you guys have available? And he goes, well, that's kind of your problem. We just sell them, and then you can hire somebody if you want to. And I was like, okay, so let's talk about your single family units. And he goes, well, we have 2,600 square foot units that start at 2.395 and go up from there. And I'm like, okay, well, can you send me some of the floor plans? I'm talking a 2,600 square foot house that isn't even facing at the mountain. The side of the yard does. This is face, into a parking lot across the street from it. He goes, we've heard that these places rent for over $1,000 a night in season. I go, okay, still do the math on that. Even if you got, $300,000 a year in revenue off of that property, do the math on the ROI. And I go, I don't know if it's a good investment or not. And that's what happens. It gets to a point of where all markets become unlucrative, or the consumer can only afford so much, which will then limit the price that they can get over here, right? Because investors will only buy things they can get an ROI on. They don't just buy things to buy things. They buy things that give them a return. So in housing, when you say things like, I want to live in the area that I grew up, that's fantastic. The area that you grew up in, probably if it keeps going up in price, you maybe have to have a job or go to the right schooling to be able to afford that area, because just because, maybe your parents were surgeons doesn't mean that you can live in that area in Linden Hills just because you want to and you work at Tom Thumb or 7-Eleven or whatever. I don't even know what convenience stores are even open anymore. Quick Trip, whatever. And you know what I'm saying? And so it gets to a point of where you have that, you have to apply the economics to your environment before you decide that that's what you're going to do.
Yeah. I think this whole thing about being owed is just so annoying to me. Just saying.
It's a very scary disease to catch, and it's hard to get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me about
it. It's so unfair. It's so unfair that people can go and live in Brazil for nothing and, pay $11 to go to a Fogo de Chao and be on the ocean. And I mean, it's just wrong. It's so sad.
Okay. First of all, I'm taking popular content online and having you guys dissect it. It's not my opinions. Okay. I just did a podcast recently with someone that was in Venezuela when they were making $1 a month and they were eating dogs and rats. So I'm as far as it gets from socialism and whatnot. So don't put that on to me. Okay.
No, I think
we're not. I'm making examples.
I think he said your middle name for your generation is entitlement.
Yeah, I think America as a whole has gotten very spoiled, and not just the younger people too. Just like, don't even get me started on the Ukraine war and what that's going to do for our future. And every single boomer and Republican is crying about it because they think it's end of the world.
We're positioning ourselves to be a bunch of big fat dummies. Vote for the people that say they're going to give you free stuff. They don't give you free stuff. You don't want to work. You want handouts. You want stimuluses. It's like, show up and go to work. Be proud of yourselves. Work. That's what this is about, man. We didn't get ahead in the world by getting handouts. We got ahead in the world because we were innovators. We worked hard. We made new products. We made new systems. We made stuff. And now what I really do worry about is all these people that think we can become a service industry as a country. We're not going to make anything. We're just going to work on our computers and service stuff. And it's a scary thought because talk about AI replacing your job.
Well, the good thing is they're moving all that manufacturing to Mexico. And obviously we got a little military influence in the Western Hemisphere that will keep an eye out on it. But 100%, I agree. We got to stop crying as a country. So, but everyone else, click that link, okay? Go to our website, subscribe on the YouTube, write us a review on iTunes, Spotify, send us in any questions. If you want to buy or sell a home in Minnesota, you know who to go to. Ciao, ciao.
To Andy.
To Chris. Go to Chris. Where's Chris? Go over there.
Bye-bye.
Right.
See you guys.
Have a great day, guys.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.